The Art of Not Forcing, the Power of Effortless Action. Introduction. Have you ever felt like you're pushing a boulder uphill in every aspect of your life, convinced that if you just push a little harder, you'll achieve success? Do days at work turn into endless sprints, leaving you drained and dissatisfied, while your personal goals feel just out of reach, no matter how much effort you invest? Are you trapped in a cycle of overexertion, where the more you do, the less you seem to accomplish? If you find these situations uncomfortably familiar, you're not alone. But what if I told you that the secret to unlocking a life of richness, productivity, and harmony isn't found by doubling down on your efforts, but rather by releasing your grip? This book isn't just another guide, it's a map leading you to a treasure trove of wisdom that will transform how you approach your life, and it's packed with a secret sauce that has been missing from the conventional, hustle-driven narrative. There's a myth that's pervasive in our culture, the myth of relentless pursuit, the idolization of hustle over health. Yet, the most profound achievements often emerge not from overexertion, but from a delicate balance between effort and ease. Across the world, there is compelling evidence suggesting that success isn't always the result of grinding out endless hours of hard work. In fact, it may be quite the opposite. This book will challenge your deeply ingrained beliefs about productivity and introduce you to the principles of effortless action. By letting go rather than clenching tighter, you'll discover how to align yourself with life's natural rhythms, making way for innovation, creativity, and sustainable success that flows. Let's embark together on this journey of unlearning. We'll delve into the roots of the issue and unravel the cultural myths and personal beliefs that have led you to glorify overexertion. You'll learn to recognize the trap of hyperproductivity and understand the warning signs, making room for an entirely new way of living and working. Picture a world where your actions feel aligned and purpose-driven, free from the constant battle against time and to-do lists, a world where you achieve more because you're attuned to the natural flow of life. This book will provide you with a framework designed to harness the power of effortlessly. By leveraging fundamental concepts and progressing to advanced techniques, you'll establish a solid foundation of stillness from which to act without force. With real-life anecdotes and historical paragons showcasing the might of non-forcing, you'll find relatable and tangible examples to inspire your journey towards success and contentment. You'll gain tools for implementing the principles you learn in your everyday life, translating insight into action that feels both simple and profound. For those wrestling with endless to-do lists and the pervasive feeling of falling short, this book reveals how working smarter, not harder, and fostering harmony in relationships can reshape your reality. The actionable advice and exercises scattered throughout these pages are your stepping stones to a life lived more wholly and freely. By understanding that some of the most powerful moments come from surrender rather than control, you can cultivate a calm and poised approach to life's challenges, thus achieving more by doing less. You'll learn strategies to overcome common cognitive biases and mental pitfalls, the silent adversaries in your quest for effortless living. You will be equipped to navigate around the traps of confirmation bias, the anchoring effect, or the availability heuristic, and you'll do so with grace, not grit. Imagine liberating yourself from these constraints, unlocking a future where intellectual growth is marked by the subtle art of not forcing, where you live in congruence with your most authentic self. This isn't about giving up on your dreams, it's about approaching them in a way that's sustainable, joyful, and ultimately effective. It's about learning to live with intention and awareness, crafting an environment that embraces flow, and engaging in communal practices that bolster a collective sense of ease and accomplishment. As you adapt these rituals to your daily life, you'll notice how they inspire an overarching vision for yourself and for the world. Take a moment to consider the implications of a society where effortless action is the norm. Visualize communities, businesses, and personal lives thriving not out of strain, but through the graceful interplay of action and relaxation. This book is your invitation to step onto a path less traveled, but rich with potential. The knowledge you'll gain here is more than prescriptions for efficiency, it's a radical, liberating shift in perspective that will echo through every facet of your life. Welcome to Embrace the Flow, How Letting Go Can Lead to Success, where the art of non-forcing reveals the beauty and power of a life lived with genuine ease. Prepare to shed the burdens of overexertion and step into a space where well-being and accomplishment are not just compatible, but naturally coexist. Here, every chapter marks another stride in a continuous journey toward a brighter, more effortless existence. The river of serenity and prosperity awaits. Let's set sail together. Chapter 1: The Roots of Forcing. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we're all in such a rush? Everywhere you look, whether it's in the workplace, on social media, or even in our personal hobbies, there's an underlying current of urgency, a palpable push to do more, be more, and never stop striving. Pause for just a moment and reflect. When was the last time you felt content with your level of productivity, or dared to step off the hamster wheel, even briefly? The pressure to perform and overachieve is entrenched in cultural narratives and personal beliefs that have discreetly woven themselves into the fabric of our societies, quietly dictating the pace of our lives and the measures of our success. A thriving global economy champions ideals of constant growth and perpetual motion, while celebrated narratives of self-made men and women shape our conception of what is achievable through sheer effort and unyielding exertion. These stories, though inspiring in their own right, can often overshadow the equally powerful, but less heralded, tales of those who've risen by embracing the very antithesis of hustle, the art of effortless action. Ironically, this cultural obsession with overexertion can lead to a paradox wherein more effort does not equate to greater outcomes, and where the blind pursuit of productivity can culminate in burnout, reduced creativity, and even a sense of meaninglessness. Rarely is this truth more evident than in the modern workplace, where the myth of overexertion plays out in real time. Employees are encouraged to go above and beyond, put in extra hours, and tackle endless task lists, often with the promise of recognition, advancement, or the simple fear of not keeping up, serving as the whip for this racehorse. However, in the shadows of this noxious cycle, there's a burgeoning awareness that perhaps we've got it all wrong. That maybe, in our earnest chase for efficiency, we've adopted a flawed blueprint. It's akin to trying to cross a vast ocean by consistently paddling harder against the current rather than learning to navigate its tides. Studies proliferate, extolling the virtues of rest, the necessity of downtime, and the counterintuitive boost in productivity that can result from working less rather than more. Humanity's greatest flashes of insight often come not within the tumult of exertion, but in the tranquility of repose. This is where we find a startling divergence from the prevailing wisdom. The quite literal aha moments that can shift paradigms are birthed in stillness, not in a frenzy. As individual beings, our personal beliefs about success and the path to achieve it are often entwined with the values of our upbringing, the societal expectations embedded within us from childhood, and the stories we tell ourselves about our capabilities and worth. We're taught that to win in life, we must never relent, never show weakness, and perceive rest as a luxury or, worse, an indulgence we can't afford. Yet, when we examine the roots of these beliefs, digging deep into their origins, we begin to question their utility and veracity. Are we striking the right chord between our efforts and the harmonious unfolding of our lives, or are we forcibly trying to play a melody that isn't in tune with our innate rhythm? Our cultural myths have effectively created a chasm between our natural inclination towards periodic rest and the relentless pursuit of activity, and it is in this gap that we often lose touch with our inner equilibrium, leading to dissonance in both work and personal life. Addressing this imbalance and questioning the relentless urge to push harder requires a shift in perspective, a recalibration of values to better align with what truly enriches our lives rather than what simply fills our time. It's about redefining what it means to be productive and successful, not by societal standards, but by the measure of our individual fulfillment and well-being. This is the silent revolution, a move toward acknowledging that there may be a more profound effectiveness in what looks like surrender than in the ceaseless exertion that we've been conditioned to glorify. It is a call to consider that perhaps the optimal way to flourish is not to create a fortress against life's trials with sheer force, but to cultivate a garden that grows within the ebbs and flows of life's natural cycles. Reflect on the effortless grace of nature. Trees do not strain to grow, they simply grow. Flowers do not struggle to bloom, they bloom in accord with their inherent design. Thus, we too might benefit from observing and integrating this principle into our approach to work and ambition. Finding the balance between intentional action and yielding to the flow of life is a subtle skill, one that requires patience, introspection, and the boldness to challenge long-standing myths about exertion. It invites us to dismantle the internalized beliefs that can unconsciously drive us to the brink of our limits and to consciously construct a new paradigm, one that harmonizes with our true nature and allows us to reach our full potential not through overbearing force, but through attuned grace. The realization of such an equilibrium holds the possibility of not only transforming how we operate on an individual level, but could ripple outward to inspire a cultural renaissance, reimagining how we all engage with work, creation, and most importantly, with life itself. Have you ever found yourself obsessing over your to-do list, cramming every minute of your day with tasks, yet lying in bed feeling like you haven't done enough? The relentless drive to maximize productivity at all costs is a phenomenon that has seeped into our cultural ethos, packaging itself as the golden ticket to success. But is it really? In our pursuit of hyperproductivity, we are often left feeling exhausted, disoriented, and less effective than when we began. It's the subtle trap that clutches hold without our even noticing it, until we're deep within its grasp, and our well-being falls casualty to our unchecked ambition. Let's pull back the curtain and examine what it means to be caught in the lure of hyperproductivity, as it is far more than just a benign overcommitment to work. When we are pulled into the mindset of hyperproductivity, every second not spent on what we deem as productive work feels wasteful. This perception is often accompanied by a potent mix of guilt, anxiety, and a relentless inner critic that insists we could and should be doing more. Social media glorifies the hustle and grind, reinforcing the notion that if you're not pushing the envelope at all times, you're falling behind in the race of life. We're indoctrinated with quotes like "you have the same number of hours in a day as Beyoncé," which, while meant to inspire, often exacerbate feelings of inadequacy and underachievement. The warning signs of this productivity paradox are as glaring as they are ignored. If you notice that your work is the first thought that greets you in the morning and the last to bid you good night, there's cause for pause. You might observe that your meals have transformed into brief intermissions between emails and that your conversations with loved ones are riddled with the ping of notifications you can't ignore. Quality time has become a quaint idea replaced with multitasking, and downtime is cloaked in a shroud of guilt for all the tasks left undone. Another key indicator is the perpetual state of burnout, which slyly creeps in and masquerades as ordinary fatigue. It's the lethargy that coffee can't seem to fix, and the irritability that you blame on inadequate sleep. But it's the consequence of pushing your mind and body beyond their limits without allowing the necessary time to recover. Burnout is not just a buzzword, it's a clarion call to reassess our relationship with work and productivity. It's easy to overlook the fact that our minds need breathing space as much as our bodies need rest. Creative thoughts, big ideas, and moments of clarity often emerge when we're at ease rather than when we're at full throttle. Like a field that has been overfarmed, our minds require fallow periods to replenish and sustain their fertility. Ignoring this necessity leads to a kind of mental and emotional soil erosion, where the nutrient-rich topsoil of our creativity and enthusiasm is washed away, leaving us with a barren landscape devoid of vigor and growth. Our physical health is another casualty in this relentless pursuit. Sitting for prolonged periods while trying to knock down a never-ending stack of tasks can lead to a host of issues, from neck pain to more serious chronic diseases. It's a steep price to pay for the illusion of getting ahead. Moreover, while we're mentally juggling a dozen balls in the air, our personal relationships begin to wither in the periphery, starved of the attention and presence they require to thrive. The idea that we can make up for this time later is one of hyperproductivity's greatest lies. To dismantle the trap of hyperproductivity, we must first recognize its signs within us. It begins with cultivating an awareness of our own behaviors and attitudes toward work and accomplishment. Acknowledge that the unceasing grind isn't the hallmark of success we've been led to believe. Rather, it's a one-way ticket to a burnout that benefits no one, not our employers, not our loved ones, and certainly not ourselves. Imagine for a moment a life where you measure success not by the volume of tasks completed, but by the impact they have. A life where you afford yourself the luxury of pause, secure in the understanding that rest is not idleness, but a critical component of productivity. In this reimagined existence, you work with purpose, not pressure, and the quality of your output takes precedence over the quantity. The journey to escape the hyperproductivity trap is not a quick fix or a one-size-fits-all solution. But it begins with acknowledging its presence in our lives. Once we spot the warning signs, we can take proactive steps to shift our mindset, setting boundaries, and honoring the intrinsic value of our well-being. By doing this, we create a more sustainable approach to productivity, one that fosters creativity, preserves health, and enriches the relationships that make our work meaningful in the first place. Chapter 2: The Principles of Effortlessly. Remember that intriguing secret sauce of the book, presented in the introduction, hinting at a simpler, yet profoundly effective way of achieving our goals? Well, the secret unraveling before us is about aligning with the natural rhythms of life, leading to a flow state that inherently promotes success without the relentless grind. This chapter lays the cornerstone for understanding how this alignment can not only enhance our productivity but also increase our overall happiness and well-being. When we think of our lives as a vast, intricate symphony, it's clear that every component has its own rhythm, its own pace. The sun doesn't rush to set, nor do the seasons hustle to change. They follow a natural tempo that guides their existence, and so can we. Aligning with natural rhythms means tuning into this organic tempo of the world around us and the innate beat of our own existence. It's a subtle art of synchrony that requires us to be attentive and responsive to internal cues as well as the environment we inhabit. To truly tune into life's flow, we must first acknowledge that our march toward achievement doesn't always have to be forceful. There's immense pressure in modern culture to constantly push ourselves to the brink of our capacities. However, this chapter illuminates the transformative concept that effort can be potent yet effortless when we're in harmony with the ebb and flow of our internal tides. It's about recognizing the periods when you naturally feel more energetic and alert, and also those when your body and mind crave rest or quiet contemplation. This concept might sound counterintuitive at first, especially in a world preoccupied with the myth of overexertion. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that success is the exclusive progeny of hard labor and perpetual busyness. The pervasive hustle mentality suggests that rest is for the weak, and if you're not always on, you're missing out. But here lies the paradox: by trying to dominate our natural rhythms, we actually disrupt the exquisite flow that can lead to our greatest work and deepest satisfaction. Consider how a river carves its path, not through sheer force, but by persistently flowing within the contours that nature has provided. It's responsive, not overpowering. It adapts to rocks and ledges, embracing them as part of its flow rather than constantly battling against them. Similarly, when we align with our natural rhythms, we enable ourselves to perform work when we're most capable and to rest when it's needed, ensuring that every effort is optimal rather than obligatory. The practical application of this principle involves attentive self-observation. Start by identifying your own natural highs and lows throughout the day or week. When do you feel most focused? When does creativity seem to flourish effortlessly? By charting this personal rhythm, we can schedule our most demanding tasks during peaks of energy, saving less intensive tasks for the troughs. This doesn't mean we're shirking responsibility or being lax, we're simply stewarding our energy in a manner that aligns with our intrinsic patterns of productivity. Beyond personal energy, alignment also extends to recognizing the seasons of our life. There are springtimes of growth and winters of reflection. Embracing these seasons means we might vigorously pursue new ventures when we feel an internal spring awakening within us, or we may heed the call to retreat and reassess our path during our personal winters. Life is cyclical, and understanding this cyclicality enables us to approach our endeavors with a mindset that is both more compassionate and more effective. If you've ever found yourself pushing against the current of life, wrestling with circumstances like a sailor fighting against the unforgiving sea, take heart in knowing there's a secret source, a hinted solution that we're about to delve into, a cornerstone of our self-improvement guide where the tides of effort begin to sway in your favor. This secret is none other than the art of intention, revealed promise from the book's introduction that facilitates a shift from strife to serenity, from exertion to effortlessly. The art of intention is about setting the stage for actions that feel almost preordained in their ease. But don't mistake this for mere wishful thinking, it's a strategic, purpose-driven process. Imagine planting a garden. You don't simply scatter seeds on hardened soil and hope for the best. Instead, you till, you prepare the ground, you consider the seasons, and you plant your seeds with care, analogous to broadcasting your intentions. You recognize that the garden grows not by your hand alone, but also by the elements you cannot control. It's about creating conditions under which nature can do its best work without undue interference from you. You're aligning your personal will with a greater, more organic process, and this principle can apply to every facet of your life. An effective intention is clear yet flexible, it's the blueprint of your desired outcome, held lightly but pursued with conviction. It's as if you're programming your internal GPS with a final destination but remaining open to the scenic detours and unanticipated shortcuts. By doing so, you engage with life's dynamic ebb and flow instead of approaching it as a rigid series of chores to be ticked off. You shift from a mindset of making things happen to one where you're letting things happen, not passively, but with a proactive surrender. To set an intentional stage, you must first become acutely aware of what you genuinely want, not what you think you should want or what others expect you to aspire to, but your own authentic desires. This requires introspection and honesty, a willingness to peel back the layers of conditioned thinking to reveal what resonates with your core. Consider this an archaeological dig into your psyche, unearthing the treasure of your truth. As you refine your understanding of what it is you aim for, whether it's success in business, harmony in personal relationships, or a particular state of being, you prime your mind to recognize opportunities as they arise and, more importantly, feel confident in seizing them because they align with the true you. Moreover, the act of setting intentions is intrinsically powerful. It pulls your scattered energies into a coherent beam, much like a magnifying glass focuses sunlight. This concentrated energy pierces through distractions and doubt, allowing you to course through your days with a sense of purpose, even when external conditions seem chaotic. It's about tuning into a frequency where what you need seems to find you, rather than you constantly scavenging for it. And as the sciences of psychology and neuroscience have shown, the brain tends to find what it's looking for, a phenomenon known as the reticular activating system. By setting a clear intention, you effectively program this internal system to alert you to that which is in harmony with your aims. But we must not forget, intentions without an embracing attitude of openness are like seeds on concrete, they're unable to take root and flourish. To hone this quality of openness, practice radical acceptance of the present moment. Acknowledge where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing with a clear, accepting gaze, no matter the circumstantial quality. This is not to be confused with resignation, rather, it's a recognition that the only viable starting point for any journey is where you actually stand, not where you wish you were. From this spot of honesty, you can move with the river of life instead of striving against its currents. It's essential to remember that effective intentions are not static entities, they're dynamic, evolving with your growth and understanding. Allow them to shift as you encounter new insights, experiences, and inspirations. By not clinging too tightly to a singular vision, you give yourself the grace to adapt and the room to expand. Your targets might morph, but the core essence of what you seek, be it joy, success, or contribution, will stay illuminated as the guiding star on your horizon. And what about the moments when doubt clouds your intention? Consider these moments as prompts to reassess and recommit, not as failures. When a doubt arises, it's an opportunity to question what aspect of your intention may need recalibration. Return to your core desires and check in: is this intention still true for me? Does it serve my growth? Does it align with my values? This process of continual realignment ensures that you are not blindly following a path that no longer resonates, but are instead journeying on a route charted by your current, conscious self. In summary, the art of intention is a rich and significant chapter in the story of effortless action. It asserts that, in the end, it's not about wrestling life into submission, but about dancing with it, sometimes leading, sometimes following. It's about recognizing the interplay between your deepest desires and the natural rhythm of the world. By setting intentions with clarity, openness, and adaptability, you create a fertile garden for your efforts to thrive without force. As you pour the foundation of your intentions, anticipate that the structures built on this groundwork will rise with greater ease, aligning magnificently with the secret source of success that has been gently simmering through the chapters of this guide. Chapter 3: Real-Life Examples of Effortless Action. As we delve into the realm of non-forcing, a practice that seems almost contrary to the modern ethos of aggressive diligence, we can draw inspiration from historical paragons who mastered the skill of effortless action. These individuals, whether through intuition or deliberate practice, discovered that sometimes the most potent form of action is one that flows naturally, harmonizing with the rhythm of life rather than struggling against it. They recognized that true mastery does not come from overpowering or exerting dominance over our tasks, but rather from aligning with an innate current of productivity and creativity that lies within all of us. Take, for example, Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher attributed to penning the Tao Te Ching. He espoused the concept of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action. Lao Tzu believed that the natural world moves effortlessly and that we, as part of that natural world, could do the same. He proposed that when we align our actions with the Tao, the fundamental essence of the universe, we can achieve our goals with a sense of ease and grace. Lao Tzu's teachings suggest that by letting go of our forced intentions and manufactured efforts, we open ourselves up to a more significant, natural power that carries our endeavors forward without strain or stress. Similarly, in Japan, the samurai lived by a code known as Bushido, which stressed the importance of being in complete synchronization with one's actions. A samurai did not merely train to strike faster or harder than an opponent, but rather to reach a state where his actions were so deeply ingrained that they became automatic and fluid. This training of mind and body allowed them to act without the hesitation that comes from overthinking or the clumsiness that follows from brute force. Then there's the tale of the Italian painter Michelangelo, who, when asked about the secret to his magnificent sculptures like David and Pietà, purportedly said he simply removed the excess marble that trapped the forms within. Michelangelo's art appears as though it was not so much imposed upon stone, but was released from it, as if the figures were always there waiting to be revealed. This analogy beautifully depicts the non-forcing paradigm, the idea that sometimes the best way to achieve is not to add more effort, but to subtract unnecessary force. Consider also the story of Albert Einstein, who revolutionized our understanding of physics not by relentless laboratory work, but through thought experiments. It was during periods of relaxation and quiet contemplation that his most profound ideas, such as the theory of relativity, crystallized. This suggests that intellectual breakthroughs may come not from pushing ourselves harder but from quieting the mind and allowing it to wander freely through the cosmos of possibilities. In music, we have the intuitive genius of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, whose compositions flowed forth with such natural grace that he claimed they required no correction. Mozart did not laboriously hammer out his masterpieces note by note, rather, he allowed them to emerge as if they were fully formed, demonstrating that non-forcing can also be expressed through the creative impulse, as if the music itself desired to be born through him. These historical figures represent a tapestry woven with the threads of non-forcing. They teach us important lessons, that mastery can come from a place of calm and serenity, that our most profound work may arise when we release our grip, and that by tuning into a deeper sense of order and natural flow, we can accomplish more than we ever thought possible. Their experiences show us that by trusting in the process and relinquishing the desire to control every outcome, we open ourselves to a world of effortless achievement. By revisiting the lives and philosophies of such masters, we reaffirm the principle that effort can be powerful but unforced, that one can strike a balance between intention and surrender. Taking these historical paragons as our guides, we can nurture our own practice of non-forcing, integrating the wisdom of the ages into our modern lives and work. It is through understanding and embodying their lessons that we can free ourselves from the self-imposed limitations of relentless exertion, tapping into a more profound and effortless form of success that has benefited humanity's great minds for centuries. When we navigate the bustling streets of our modern cities or the endless corridors of the online world, we are often met with stories of extraordinary achievements that leave us both inspired and somewhat incredulous. How do these individuals accomplish so much with what seems like such grace and ease? It's as if success comes to them naturally, as if they've tapped into some secret current that carries them forward. This age-old enigma of effortless success is illustrated in numerous contemporary anecdotes, replete with simplicity and subtle power. We learn that oftentimes, the less we try to force outcomes, the more prolifically our goals unfold before us. Take the case of a young entrepreneur, whose initial endeavors in tech startups were laden with fatigue, overwork, and a sense of perpetual struggle. He chased funding, stretched his team's resources thin, and grappled with imminent burnout, the quintessential image of the hustle. Yet, his methodology offered little in the way of achievement or fulfillment. Things shifted dramatically when he adopted a philosophy anchored in non-forcing. By stepping back to evaluate what really mattered, aligning his work with his life's purpose, and focusing on creating value with less friction, he found the business practically growing itself. The team became more innovative, solutions surfaced without forced intervention, and, paradoxically, investors began seeking him out. The entrepreneur had learned how to sail with the wind rather than against it, and in doing so, his actions felt like they were almost performing themselves. Similarly, there's the story of the veteran author, who after years of facing writer's block and frustrating publishing cycles, decided to change her approach to writing. She began each day not by coercing words onto the page, but by embracing stillness and allowing inspiration to flow from a place of quiet reflection. By giving herself permission to step away from the keyboard and letting the story come to her in its own time, she wrote her most acclaimed novel in a fraction of the time it took her to draft prior works. The novel was celebrated for its authentic prose and deeply moving narrative, traits that she attributed to a more natural, less strained creative process. In the corporate laneways, this effortless efficacy is equally observable. A seasoned executive, known for driving revenues and leading aggressive campaigns, had an epiphany that transformed his approach to leadership. He realized that by enforcing rigid targets and pushing his team to their limits, he was creating a culture of fear and short-term thinking. After shifting his focus to building an environment that encouraged personal growth and leveraged individual strengths, the team's performance improved dramatically. Attrition rates dropped, innovation blossomed, and profits saw a sustainable upswing, all while the work atmosphere turned more positive and relaxed. An educator rewriting her curriculum to build intrinsic motivation in her students, rather than relying on conventional reward-punishment pedagogy, found her classrooms buzzing with self-directed learning and creativity. She provided guidance and structure but allowed the pupils to take ownership of their educational journey, fostering a sense of empowerment and innate curiosity. The results spoke for themselves: higher engagement, better grades, and, most importantly, students who truly loved learning. These anecdotal accounts provide us with more than just feel-good narratives. They serve as compelling evidence that when we stop trying to manhandle our personal and professional lives into submission, we unlock an almost mystical property of human potential. This principle does not suggest we become passive or inert. Rather, it's an active process of aligning our intentions and energies with a flow that seems to carry us more effortlessly toward our desired destinations. What each of these individuals shares is a conscious decision to transit from exertion to elegance in action. They showed up, set their course, then let go of the unnecessary force. It's a counterintuitive mastery, in the words of Lao Tzu: by letting it go it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try, the world is beyond the winning. This Taoist wisdom encapsulates the essence of what modern success stories are discovering for themselves: that there exists a serendipitous confluence where passion meets ease, effort meets serenity, and action meets non-action. It is here, in this balanced interstice, that we find the living evidence of effortless action shaping not only the lives of a few but potentially the progression of society at large. As we continue on our own quests, aiming to elevate our lives, extend our influence, or simply exist with a greater sense of freedom, these modern incarnations of effortless action serve as signposts. They invite us to reconsider our relationship with work, creativity, and productivity. They challenge us to let go of the myth that struggle is a prerequisite of success. And, most inspirationally, they encourage us to test the waters of a less turbulent approach to achieving our dreams, one where the flow of our natural aptitudes and the rhythm of the world around us collaboratively guide our vessels to shores of untold promise. Chapter 4: Unlocking the Secret of Effortless Mastery. Have you ever found yourself enthralled by someone who exudes an air of ease in everything they do? They accomplish tasks with grace, make complex decisions without apparent stress, and navigate challenges as though they're riding a gentle wave to shore. This characteristic, this seemingly magical ability, is what many of us aspire to acquire. It's the secret of effortless mastery. But what if I told you that this so-called secret isn't locked away in arcane knowledge or inherent genius, but rather within the ability to let go? Now, the idea of letting go might initially appear counterintuitive, especially in a world where action is often equated with effort, force, and control. However, what if we reframe our perspective and see letting go as an action in itself, a deliberate choice to yield, to trust in the organic process of life and work, and to embrace the flow of our own internal rhythms? This paradigm shift unlocks a subtle power that lies dormant within us, the power of non-forcing, where we achieve more by doing less. To unlock the secret of effortless mastery, we must first understand the principles of non-forcing more deeply. Traditional martial arts, such as Tai Chi, are built upon the wisdom of utilizing an opponent's energy to one's own advantage, never expending more effort than what is necessary. Imagine a mighty river. An adept navigator will use the river's current to guide their boat rather than paddling against it. They move with the river, harnessing its natural flow, conserving energy, and finding that less is indeed more. Life can be much like this river, and by aligning with its ebbs and flows, we can travel great distances with minimal exertion. The practice of letting go invites us to relinquish our tight grip on preconceived outcomes, our overbearing control over processes, and our constant meddling in the natural progression of events. It teaches us to trust in the unseen currents that drive our existence, to be patient, and to believe that the right things will unfold in the right time. As we do so, we may find insights bubbling to the surface, offering us solutions that we might have overlooked had we been straining against the moment. For many of us, this invitation to let go is met with resistance and natural apprehension towards surrender because it seems to challenge every fiber of our always-on work ethic. But consider for a moment artists and athletes in their moments of peak performance. An artist may speak of the moment when their art just flows from them, or an athlete may recount occasions when they were in the zone. These are the instances of letting go, allowing muscle memory, intuition, and years of practice to lead the way. They don't force their brilliance, they release into it. The subtlety of this art can also be recognized in nature's own display of effortlessly. Take the example of a seed planted in fertile ground. It does not strain to sprout or bloom, it simply does so when the conditions are right. By cultivating inner stillness akin to the fertile ground, we allow our intentions, fortified by our cumulative experiences and learnings, to sprout and bloom without the unnecessary stress of overexertion. Cultivating stillness is perhaps one of the most dynamic actions we can undertake. Stillness should not be mistaken for inactivity, rather, it is a dynamic state of awareness, poised and ready to respond appropriately to any stimulus. It serves as that fertile ground in our analogy, a preparatory state from which clarity, insight, and unforced actions emerge. Within this stillness, we find the space to observe without judgment, listen without the urge to reply, and make decisions without the rush of impulse. It is in these quiet moments that we can best attune to our inner voice, the subtler callings of our intuition, and the nuanced whispers of creativity and innovation. As you embark on unlocking effortless mastery, remember that mastering the art of non-forcing is not a passive process, it requires attention, intention, and practice. It demands that we constantly refine our ability to discern when to act and when to yield, when to push and when to rest. It's akin to a dance with the rhythms of life, a giving and receiving, a stepping forward and falling back, all orchestrated in harmony with our deepest values and visions. The journey to effortless mastery is a continuous one, filled with learning, growth, and the occasional recalibration of our approach. But as you integrate the principles of letting go into your daily life, work, and relationships, you'll likely discover a profound truth, that achieving more by doing less lies in the silent spaces between our actions. These spaces are where our thoughts settle, where our emotions find balance, and where our spirit gets the room to expand. It is here that the secret of effortless mastery is not forcefully grasped, but graciously revealed. Have you ever noticed how the greatest revelations or ideas often come to you when you're not actively trying to summon them? They tend to sneak up on you in the shower, as you're about to drift to sleep, or while taking a leisurely walk. There's a profound lesson in these commonplace experiences. Stillness can be a powerful catalyst for insight and unforced actions. The art of cultivating stillness doesn't mean idleness or doing nothing. Rather, it's about creating intentional spaces of quiet and tranquility in your day, where your mind can be free from the constant noise of to-do lists, social media pings, and the incessant chatter of thoughts about the past and future. It's in these spaces that we allow ourselves the room to better hear our inner voice, connect with our intuition, and let our subconscious problem-solving abilities take the wheel. The concept of stillness isn't new and has been embraced in various forms across cultures. Think meditation in Buddhism, the contemplative silence of Quaker meetings, or the stillness in nature appreciated by transcendentalists. Each of these embraces the notion that stillness is a fertile ground for growth. Cultivating stillness requires purposeful disengagement from the external stimuli that demand our attention and reaction. It's a conscious choice to detach momentarily from the world's business and spend time in personal reflection. This is not about withdrawing from life, but about enhancing your engagement with it by ensuring that your actions, when you do take them, are more deliberate, less reactive, and therefore more effective. A still mind is not an empty mind, rather it's one that isn't overpowered by, but is aware of, the incessant and often unnecessary inner monologue. By learning to observe your thoughts without getting carried away by them, you open up the space needed for true insight and unforced actions to emerge. Imagine your mind as a lake. When it's stormy and agitated, it's difficult to see anything below the surface. But when the water is calm and still, you can see all the way down to the bed below, observing objects, or thoughts you couldn't perceive in the midst of turbulence. Cultivating stillness is akin to calming that lake's waters so you can gain a clearer understanding of what is beneath the surface of your consciousness, which beliefs and desires are driving you, what might need to be let go of, and what direction your subsequent action should take. To bring stillness into your life, start by carving out pockets of time in which you can be alone with your thoughts. It could be as simple as waking up a few minutes earlier to sit with a cup of tea in silence, taking a short walk on your lunch break without your phone, or dedicating just 5 minutes to breathing exercises before you start your day. The key is consistency and the intention to be present during these moments. Without judgment or a goal in sight, just let yourself exist, and let your thoughts pass by like clouds in the sky, observable, but not necessarily actionable. This practice is a form of mindfulness that trains your mind to find calmness, to rest in the present moment without clinging to past regrets or future anxieties. Over time, these periods of chosen tranquility can lead to a sense of clarity that filters into your everyday life, paving the way for actions that are not just reactions to external demands, but are rooted in your own clear, calm insights. Once you start integrating these practices of stillness into your daily life, the insight you gain becomes a secret weapon in navigating the complexities of personal and professional landscapes. Consider how often we act in haste only to regret decisions when they don't lead to the outcomes we'd hoped for. Actions born out of stillness circumvent this regret because they come from a deeper place of understanding, from insights that have had time to brew and mature into something resembling inner wisdom. Thoughtful insights are precious. They can help you see patterns you were previously blind to, and they can offer new perspectives on problems that seemed insurmountable. Such clarity can be transformative, not just on a personal level, but in the way you interact with others and move through the world. In terms of unforced actions, there's a common misconception that they are synonymous with passivity, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Unforced action is about alignment and flow, moving with the natural currents of life rather than straining against them. It's about responding to the right opportunities with the right energies, rather than pushing and struggling against closed doors. This doesn't mean that you won't face resistance or that effort is not required. It means that your actions are more likely to be in harmony with the rhythms of your own life and the environment you're operating in, leading to more effective and fulfilling outcomes. When you act from a place of stillness, your actions are imbued with intention, you're more attuned to the needs of the situation, and you're better equipped to employ your energies in ways that amplify impact rather than waste it. Cultivating stillness and allowing insights to arise naturally can seem counterintuitive in a culture that prizes constant activity and immediate results. However, the practice of stillness becomes a testament to the subtle power that lies within us, a reservoir of untapped potential that's waiting patiently to be acknowledged and utilized. The stillness becomes the space required for your inner compass to reset, for you to gain clarity on your true north. In an ever-changing, hyper-connected, and noisy world, the ability to connect with one's inner sense of direction, to choose the unforced action, becomes not just a skill but a necessary strategy for sustained success and well-being. As you go through your days, consider the value of periodically stepping back from the noise and demands. The stillness you cultivate will be your sanctuary, a mental and emotional retreat where you can tap into a wellspring of insights and align your actions with the deeper currents of your life. It is through these deliberate pauses, these moments of stillness, that the clarity for effortless, unforced actions is found, and the path toward mastery of oneself and one's choices becomes illuminated. Chapter 5: Implementing effortlessly in daily life. Have you ever felt like you're spinning your wheels, working hard but not quite getting where you want to be? It's a familiar story for many, and it taps into the cultural myth that sheer hard work is the key to success. But what if working smarter, not harder, could be your ticket to productivity without the burnout? Non-forcing in personal productivity isn't about doing less work, it's about optimizing your efforts so that work feels less strained and more in sync with your natural capabilities and rhythms. To begin, understanding the concept of non-forcing is crucial. Imagine for a moment a river. When it flows freely, it's both powerful and graceful. However, when obstructed, its flow becomes erratic and destructive. The river doesn't struggle, it simply follows the path of least resistance. Analogously, when we remove unnecessary self-imposed obstacles from our work, our productivity can flow like a river, smooth, steady, and natural. It's the dance of doing what comes naturally, not pushing against the current. The first step towards working smarter involves tuning into your intrinsic productivity rhythms. Some people are morning larks, others are night owls. By identifying the times when you naturally have the most energy and focus, you can tailor your work schedule around these peaks. It's like scheduling a boat trip when the tide is with you. It's not just easier, it's more enjoyable, and you get to your destination faster. Next, consider the way you approach tasks. Prioritization is king. Not all tasks hold the same value, and by identifying which are the most impactful, you focus your energy where it counts. Think of it as decluttering your to-do list. By clearing away the trivial, you make room for the significant. It's not about ticking off a multitude of tasks, but ticking off the right ones. Delegation plays an essential role here. Like a conductor leading an orchestra, you don't have to play every instrument, you just need to ensure the music comes together. Utilize the strengths of those around you. Get comfortable with the idea that others can handle aspects of your work, often just as well, if not better than you can. This frees you up to focus on what you're uniquely qualified for, the solos that only you can perform. But here's where the subtleties of non-forcing come into play, understanding when to take a break. Intermittent rest is not the antithesis of productivity, it's a part of it. Just as a musician pauses between notes, so should you. These pauses give shape to your work and keep you from drowning in a cacophony of tasks. Using techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where work is interspersed with short breaks, can help maintain a rhythm that aligns with our natural attention spans and energy levels. Furthermore, technology should be your ally, not your adversary. Automation tools and software can take over repetitive tasks that drain your time and energy. There's no valor in manually tackling work that technology can streamline. Imagine if the best carpenter persisted in using a handsaw instead of a power saw. Not only would their process be slower, but far more exhausting. Employ technology where it makes sense, and allow it to amplify your productivity. Lastly, mindset matters. Embracing an attitude of non-forcing means accepting that some days will be more productive than others, and that's perfectly okay. It means understanding that productivity isn't a badge of honor but a means to an end, fulfilling work and life goals. Cultivating self-compassion and recognizing the importance of a work-life balance is essential. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to a friend. In practicing non-forcing productivity, you'll likely find that you are not just achieving more, but enjoying the process. As you tune into your natural rhythms, set priorities, delegate, take breaks, leverage technology, and maintain a compassionate mindset, you'll turn the hustle into harmony. And just like that river, your productivity will flow effortlessly, carrying you towards the success you've been working towards. Only now, it will feel less like work and more like a natural, powerful progression toward your aspirations. When we consider the dance of relationships, what often comes to mind is an intricate ballet of give and take, an ongoing negotiation of needs, desires, and compromises. But have you ever paused to ponder the possibility that maybe, just maybe, we're trying too hard? That perhaps the secret sauce to sustaining healthy, fulfilling relationships is less about the constant push and pull and more about fostering an aura of effortlessly, an environment where harmony flourishes without struggle. Let's unwrap this seemingly paradoxical concept together. The basis of effortless relationships is not about neglecting responsibilities or being detached from the emotional currents that flow between individuals. On the contrary, it's rooted in a deep understanding and application of natural rhythms in human interactions. To embody effortlessly in relationships, we must tune into emotional intelligence, recognize the cues of others, and respond with an open heart rather than a calculated mind. Just think about the last time a conversation with a friend flowed naturally, without agenda or pretense. No scouring the brain for the next topic, no mental checklists of what to say or what to ask. It was likely an experience that left you both feeling heard, valued, and closer. These are the moments of authentic connection that serve as the framework for effortlessly in our interactions. So, what stands in the way of achieving this state more frequently? The hustle and bustle of life tend to condition us to approach relationships as another task to be managed. We schedule time with loved ones, pencil in phone calls, and even attend social events with objectives in mind. While organization has its place, the ticking clock should not be the maestro of our social symphony. One key to nurturing effortless relationships is presence. Being fully attentive, removing distractions, and engaging in the moment opens the door to more genuine encounters. When we're present, we listen not just to respond, but to understand. We observe body language, sense the tone, and absorb the feelings conveyed by those around us. This mindfulness creates a safe haven for trust and intimacy to grow. Another principle lies in setting intentions rather than expectations. Intentions are like seeds planted with a vision of what we hope will flourish: kindness, understanding, support. Conversely, expectations are rigid frameworks that require others to act or react in specific ways, setting the stage for disappointment and friction. Intentions give relationships the space to breathe and evolve organically. But intentionality is not to be mistaken for passivity. Engaging in effortless relationships demands an active choice to foster open communication, to seek out and share joy, and to practice gratitude. When you voice appreciation regularly, not only as a reaction but as a spontaneous expression, you cultivate a positive atmosphere that reinforces connection. Resentment and discontent find it hard to take root in such enriched soil. Moreover, true effortlessly in relationships emerges from the bond of vulnerability. Opening up about fears, aspirations, and uncertainties creates a mirror for our partners, friends, or family members to see their reflections and share their own inner worlds. This mutual vulnerability is not a weakness, but a foundational block of strength in the architecture of any relationship. It unravels pretense and connects individuals at a core level where supportiveness and understanding flourish. Shifting away from forcefulness also involves the art of letting go, releasing the urge to control outcomes or change people. Acceptance is vital. It's about acknowledging that each person in your life is on their unique path. When we abandon the quest to mold others to our expectations, we permit relationships to grow and mature in their authentic shapes and colors. Balance comes into play here as well. While it's admirable to strive toward being a supportive pillar in someone's life, we must not forget that for harmony to exist, there must be an equilibrium. Neither party should consistently bear the brunt of emotional labor or sacrifice their needs for the sake of the other. In the ebb and flow of relationships, effortlessly is found when there's a mutual understanding and respect for each person's contribution and needs. On a final note, one of the utmost profound realizations is that relationships, at their essence, are mirrors for our inner selves. The harmony or discord we experience with others often reflects our internal state. By nurturing self-compassion and working on personal development, we inadvertently polish the mirror, allowing us to engage more lovingly and effortlessly with those around us. The journey toward harmonious, effortless relationships does not have a definitive endpoint. It's an ongoing practice of self-awareness, genuine connection, and love in action. But by orienting our compass towards these principles, we open a world where relationships deepen with ease and life is shared in its most beautiful, unconstrained form. Chapter 6: Creating an environment for effortless living. Picture this: your living space is a serene sanctuary, a refuge that mirrors a forest glade or a quiet beach, where each element exists in harmonious balance, supporting every other. Achieving such a tranquil setting is not simply a matter of aesthetic, it's a lifestyle choice that reflects and fortifies a mindset of non-forcing. The spaces we inhabit profoundly influence our moods, behaviors, and overall approach to life. When we talk about designing your space for flow, we're not just discussing interior design, we're delving deep into creating an environment that isn't only about looks but about feeling, an ecosystem that encourages fluidity, creativity, and peace in our daily existence. Have you ever noticed that certain places make you feel instantly at ease, as if by stepping into them, your worries lighten and your mind clears? That's not by accident. Environments that foster flow are carefully crafted with an understanding of human psychology, ergonomics, and the subtle art of ambience. Let's unravel this concept, piece by piece, and see how we can apply it to our lives for a more effortless living experience. First and foremost, let's talk about your physical environment, how the organization, structure, and even decor impact your ability to slip into a state of flow. Clutter, for example, is more than just an eyesore. It competes for your attention, pulling your focus in myriad directions and adding an undertone of chaos to your subconscious. By decluttering and simplifying the spaces you spend the most time in, you prime your mind for focus and tranquility. Opt for clean lines, open spaces, and minimalist setups that allow not just for movement but for your thoughts to move as well. Think about a clear desk policy, not as a strict regulation, but as a commitment to clarity and preparedness for whenever inspiration or motivation strikes. It's in the extra space, the absence of unnecessary objects, where possibilities can flow in. After decluttering, consider your sensory experience in your environment. Humans are inherently sensitive to their surroundings. We thrive when our senses are gently stimulated, not bombarded. Soft lighting can be soothing, it emulates the warmth of a sunset or the calm of dawn. Nature sounds or quiet, ambient music can drown out the jarring noise of the outside world, allowing your mind to roam free, untethered from the acoustic clutter of daily life. Incorporate elements that engage your senses in a subdued, enjoyable way, houseplants that clean the air and offer a splash of green, reminiscent of the natural world, essential oil diffusers that infuse your space with subtle fragrance, comfortable furniture that invites relaxation without the temptation of lethargy. Now, consider the flow of your space. In traditional Chinese philosophy, the concept of feng shui is often referenced, focusing on harmonizing individuals with their surrounding environment. While you don't have to redecorate your entire home in one go, you can take cues from this practice to enhance the flow of energy in your living space. Arrange your furnishings to allow for ease of movement. You should be able to stroll through your room without dodging obstacles or feeling cramped. Designate areas for specific activities. This doesn't mean segregating your space into rigid zones, but rather, cultivating intentional corners that serve as invitations for particular actions, reading, writing, meditating, or engaging in hobbies. These designated spots become associated with certain states of mind, subtly guiding you into specific modes of being whenever you occupy them. Extending this concept of flow through space into time management can exponentially impact your day-to-day life. Just as a clutter-free room enables ease of movement, a well-structured schedule allows your day to unfold more naturally. Consider your routine and the chores or tasks that could interrupt your flow. Can they be batched together or reorganized so they form a more harmonious rhythm, syncing with your energy patterns throughout the day? The goal here is to prevent these necessary yet potentially distracting tasks from pulling you out of your state of flow at critical moments. It's about finding a groove in your day that feels as natural and effortless as a leaf floating down a stream, rather than trying to force your way through a cascade of disjointed activities. Finally, the social environment in your space is just as vital as the physical one. Surround yourself with people who understand and appreciate the idea of an effortless lifestyle. This doesn't mean everyone in your space needs to subscribe to exactly the same philosophy. Instead, it's about fostering mutual respect for one another's need for quiet, calm, and focused periods, to cultivate an atmosphere where the collective energy amplifies individual tranquility. Regularly engage in conversations about maintaining this environment, be it with family, housemates, or colleagues. Communication is the key to mutual understanding and support. By carefully designing your space with intention, you create a personal oasis where the everyday flow of life doesn't feel like a forceful push, but rather a natural current guiding you towards creativity, productivity, and peace. Your environment, when mindfully crafted, becomes a powerful partner in your journey to effortless living. It's not about creating an immaculate showcase home, but a living, breathing space that responds to and evolves with your needs. That is the cornerstone of designing for flow, a harmonious abode that supports your internal serenity and radiates it back to you, nurturing your journey towards effortless living. Building communities of non-forcing, collective effortlessly. Have you ever wondered why certain environments make you feel instantly at ease, while others set your teeth on edge? While personal habits and mindsets are critical to cultivating effortlessly, the communities and social environments we are part of play an equally significant role. In a world that often seems to value the grind over grace, how do we go about fostering communities that embrace the ethos of non-forcing? The idea isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. Just as an orchestra synchronizes to the unspoken hum of harmony, or a flock of birds navigates the skies in a mesmerizing dance of unity, so too can human communities harness the power of collective effortlessly. Creating such spaces is not about urging everyone to take up meditation or to walk around speaking in hushed tones. Rather, it's about developing a shared understanding that, at our core, we all yearn for a sense of flow, a resonance with something greater than the sum of our individual efforts. What does this look like in a real-world setting? It begins with forming connections grounded in mutual respect and empathy. It is vital that each member feels heard, valued, and understood. When individual members of a community feel that their unique contributions matter, they are more likely to engage in ways that are integral rather than forced. A sense of ownership and belonging naturally leads to a more effortless participation. But it goes beyond just the personal. To foster a community of non-forcing, we need to establish systems and structures that support this philosophy. This could mean designing meetings and collaborative processes that prioritize open dialogue and eschew rigid agendas. It might look like a workspace that encourages spontaneous collaboration as well as quiet reflection, recognizing that both are needed for creativity and innovation to flourish. The focus here is on fluidity, allowing for the natural ebb and flow of ideas and energy. To practically apply this, let's take the idea of a brainstorming session in a work environment. Traditional models often focus on immediate, tangible outputs. But in a community of non-forcing, brainstorming becomes an ongoing process without the intense pressure to produce. Ideas are allowed to simmer, with the understanding that inspiration often strikes in the moments between effort. This way, the final outcomes are reached with a sense of organic development, which is often more robust and innovative than those achieved under the duress of forceful exerting. Embracing the concept of non-forcing at a community level also means recognizing the inherent rhythms of our collective human experience. There are times for intense focus and times for rest, moments that call for individual leadership and those that benefit from collaborative governance. Cultivating a community rhythm that honors these ebbs and flows contributes to a sense of collective effortlessly. Another hallmark of communities that embody this principle is fostering a culture where mistakes are not seen as failures but as opportunities for learning and growth. Rather than creating a stifling atmosphere of fear and blame, they encourage exploration, risk-taking, and the understanding that sometimes, through what seems like a misstep, we find the path to great leaps forward. Moreover, communication within such communities tends to be both transparent and inspiring. Everyone is encouraged to voice their ideas and concerns, and the shared vision is continuously nurtured through stories of collective accomplishments as well as acknowledgments of individual contributions. Creating such communities, however, does include its share of challenges. It requires unwavering commitment from all levels, a willingness to let go of old dogmas, and the courage to embrace new paradigms of collective functioning. This means actively letting go of top-down command structures, fostering environments where leadership is fluid and arises organically. For example, rather than waiting for top-tier approval for every initiative, community members are entrusted to take forward projects they are passionate about. Responsibility and accountability are shared, and everyone is equipped to step up when their specific skills and interests align with the task at hand. In a community of non-forcing, we also pay close attention to our surroundings. We understand that physical spaces can influence our moods and interactions, and we make conscious choices in their design. Nature, art, open spaces, and calming color palettes are woven into the fabric of our shared environments to encourage a peaceful and creative coexistence. It's the harmonious blend of personal and collective energy that keeps these spaces alive and invigorating. Just like the individual journey toward effortlessly, building such communities is not an overnight endeavor. It requires persistence, patience, and, above all, a belief in the collective spirit of humanity. It's a process of trial and error, of learning which traditions to hold on to and which to let go. But the result is a thriving ecosystem where collaboration feels as natural as breathing, solutions surface without the strain of overthinking, and each member uplifts the other, promoting a cycle of continuous, harmonious growth. In sum, a community that practices non-forcing nurtures its members, celebrates their diversity, and leverages their collective strengths. It is a space where the pressure to perform is replaced by the joy of participating, and where achieving milestones is just as important as savoring the journey. It is a testament to the fact that when we come together, united in the pursuit of ease and synergy, we can craft a collective reality that far surpasses our individual dreams. Chapter 7: Sustaining the Art of Non-Forcing. When we embark upon the transformative path toward effortless living, the enduring challenge we often face is maintaining a state of ease and flow amidst the competing demands of our daily grind. The key to sustaining the art of non-forcing is to embed within our routine rituals of release, practices designed to dissolve tension and resistance, aligning us with the natural current of life where actions unfold with minimal friction. These rituals of release are not grandiose gestures but rather simple, mindful practices subtly woven into the fabric of our day-to-day existence. They are the gentle nudges that keep us aligned with the ethos of effortlessly. Imagine for a moment that your day is like a river. For the most part, the water appears to follow an unimpeded course, navigating with apparent ease around rocks and through the varied landscapes it encounters. However, there are moments when the flow is obstructed, creating turbulence. Our mind and spirit are much the same. In pursuit of an effortless state, we must learn to identify and ease these points of resistance. Engaging in rituals of release is akin to smoothing out the pebbles within our riverbed, thus allowing our stream of consciousness to move unobstructed. A ritual of release could be as unassuming as starting the day with a deep breathing exercise. Before the whirlwind of tasks sweeps you up, take a few moments to center yourself. Breathe in deeply through the nose, letting your lungs expand fully, and exhale through the mouth, feeling the release of tension. This act, repeated consistently, signals to your body and mind that it's time to transition into a state of calm. Over time, this simple practice can become a powerful tool in resetting your internal rhythm, especially when stressors threaten to throw you off course. Journaling is another such ritual, one that allows for a psychological decluttering. Like a sieve filtering out debris, pouring your thoughts onto paper creates mental space and clarity. It's an opportunity to process emotions, reflect on experiences, and disentangle complex thoughts. By externalizing what's internal, you're less likely to be weighed down by unaddressed feelings or unresolved predicaments. Journaling doesn't demand eloquence, it's the honesty of the exercise that carries the real value. Moreover, integrating periods of stillness into your day is a profound way to nurture a state of non-forcing. It may seem counterintuitive to pause in the name of productivity, but these intermissions can be astonishingly rejuvenating. During these pauses, be it a short walk, a meditative sitting, or simply staring out of a window, your brain has the chance to rest and your innate creativity has the space to bubble up to the surface. Such moments of stillness are not voids of inactivity, but fertile ground for insight. Of course, the practice of gratitude cannot be overstated as a ritual of release. Embracing an attitude of thankfulness shifts the focus away from what we lack to what we possess, a transition from striving to appreciating. This reorientation from deficit to abundance correlates strongly with emotional well-being and a sense of ease. Acknowledging the good that exists in your life is a way of releasing the grip of perpetual wanting, and its regular practice can dramatically alter your inner landscape. Physical activity, whether through dedicated exercise or incorporating more movement in general, also acts as a mechanism for release. Our sedentary lifestyles often accentuate feelings of lethargy and restlessness, which conflict with effortlessly. By engaging the body, you assist the mind in shedding some of its incessant chatter. The release of endorphins acts as a natural tonic, lifting your spirits and clearing your thoughts, affording you more mental bandwidth to operate without strain. Let's not overlook the ritual of connection. In the essence of a day, where individual tasks can make us feel isolated, taking time to genuinely connect with another human being can be a soul-soothing ritual. Whether it's a heartfelt conversation, a shared laugh, or a supportive exchange, it's these instances that remind us of our common humanity, helping us to release the self-imposed pressure to always be in control. Integration of these rituals into your everyday existence requires a shift of mindset. Instead of viewing them as additional tasks on your to-do list, consider them as non-negotiable components of your lifestyle, as essential as eating or sleeping. The adoption of these practices should be approached with the patience and compassion you would extend to a dear friend. There will be days when routines go awry, and your rituals of release might fall by the wayside. These are the perfect moments to practice non-forcing by simply observing the lapse without self-criticism and gracefully returning to your rituals when you're ready. Establishing and adhering to these rituals of release is not about rigidly sculpting every minute of your day, but rather about creating gentle structure that supports a flexible and adaptable approach to life. In doing so, you become adept at navigating the complex human experience with more grace and ease. As you become more practiced in these rituals, you may notice a subtle yet profound shift. Tasks that once felt burdensome may begin to lose their heaviness, and the path forward starts to reveal itself with greater clarity. The rituals then cease to be a task at all, they become as natural and necessary as breathing itself. The journey of embedding these rituals into your days is a personal one, and there's considerable beauty in the uniqueness of each path taken. Some may find solace in the patterns of nature, opting to spend a few minutes each morning observing the sunrise or listening to the birds. Others might find release in creating art, the act of expression bringing forth a sense of liberation. The specific practices you choose matter less than the intention behind them, an intention to cultivate an inner environment that salutes the flow of life rather than resisting it. Gradually, as these rituals become second nature, you'll find that the art of not forcing permeates beyond the boundaries of individual tasks and into the broader tapestry of your life. The harmony and rhythm you cultivate within yourself resonates in your interactions with others, your creative endeavors, and your approach to challenges. Living a life aligned with the art of not forcing is about cultivating a sustained approach to all that we do. It's about making the principles of non-forcing, ease, alignment, and intention a long-term commitment, rather than a fleeting experiment. It's stepping into a flow that carries us forward day after day, season after season, and it's about structuring our lives to support this effortlessly as a constant presence. Just as an architect meticulously plans the integrity of a structure to withstand the test of time, we too must design our lives in a way that reinforces the practice of non-forcing, nurturing spaces both within us and around us that allow for growth and spontaneous joy. Now, you might be wondering how exactly we can embed this seemingly abstract concept into the bedrock of our daily existence. For starters, it involves an inner alignment with our deepest values and aspirations. Think of life as a garden. In the short term, you can pull weeds and water your flowers to make it look presentable. But without understanding the nature of the soil, the climate, and the plants themselves, you won't cultivate a garden that thrives through changing seasons. Likewise, the garden of our life requires that we understand our environment, our personal patterns, and what truly nourishes us. Through self-reflection, we can learn which aspects of our lives are akin to nurturing rainwater and which are like the relentless sun bearing down on delicate seedlings. Armed with this understanding, we can start to put in place structures that support our effortless living. This might mean establishing boundaries, such as turning off our work emails after a certain hour to protect personal time, or perhaps it's about committing to regular practices that keep us attuned to our own rhythms, yoga, meditation, or simply quiet moments spent in nature. Another cornerstone of living with non-forcing as a guiding principle is the embrace of patience. This requires a fundamental shift from the instant gratification prized by modern society to the acceptance of gradual unfolding. Progress and fulfillment garnered in this manner are akin to watching the sunrise. It doesn't rush to break the horizon, but over time bathes the world in light. Adopting patience means understanding that real growth and deep learning often occur incrementally, and the beauty of their emergence is not something to be rushed, but rather to be savored. Cultivating patience allows us to build resilience, to stand firm in the face of challenges, knowing that in time, our continued efforts will come to fruition. Moreover, this patience extends to our relationship with others, fostering environments where we encourage and allow those around us to progress at their own pace, accepting and celebrating their unique paths rather than imposing our timelines upon them. This builds not only our personal serenity but also strengthens the bonds we share with colleagues, friends, and loved ones, as they feel the true extent of our support and respect for their journeys. Immersing ourselves in the practice of non-forcing in our personal relationships can transform them from sources of tension into wellsprings of joy and mutual growth. It means listening intently rather than waiting to speak, understanding deeply rather than judging swiftly, and offering our presence wholly rather than portioning it out amidst distractions. Such an approach to relationships builds a foundation of trust and genuine connection that allows both parties to flourish without the threat of depletion or burnout. When both partners in any form of relationship, be it romantic, familial, or friendly, are committed to the art of non-forcing, a synergistic dynamic arises that can carry them through life's ebbs and flows with grace. As the idea of non-forcing permeates our personal sphere, it inevitably ripples out into our wider community. By living as an example of what's possible when we abandon force as a tool and instead nurture presence and patience, we inspire others to consider how they too might benefit from such an approach. It's not about evangelizing or converting others to a certain way of thinking, but rather about living our truth so consistently and authentically that it cannot help but make an impression. Our actions, attitudes, and the energy we bring to spaces become the greatest testament to the life-changing power of not forcing. Committing to a life of non-forcing also entails a profound respect for our own limitations, recognizing that there is strength in acknowledging what we cannot do, or what we cannot do just yet. This recognition guides us to seek collaboration and community, to open ourselves up to the insights and strengths of others, and to weave a collective tapestry of capability that far exceeds what we could achieve alone. By honoring our limits, we paradoxically expand them, finding that in vulnerability lies the opportunity for exponential growth, both personally and within the groups we are a part of. It's an acknowledgement that while one tree can stand alone, a forest can withstand storms. In essence, Living a life aligned with the art of not forcing is about establishing enduring habits, attitudes, and relationships. It's about looking beyond the immediate horizon, mapping out a course that meanders with the rivers of our aspirations rather than clawing against them. It reminds us that striving and grinding are not the only paths to success. There is immense power and potential in aligning with the natural currents of our abilities, our environment, and the unfolding of life itself. And as we commit to this path of less resistance, we find that our lives become an expression of continuous harmony, a dance with the cosmos that speaks of boundless possibilities and effortless joy. Have you ever noticed how a river carves its way through the landscape, not by pushing against the rocks and earth with force, but by flowing around them, adapting its path with every twist and turn? It's an effortless action that results in extraordinary transformations over time. This natural phenomenon is a powerful metaphor for the journey you've explored in the preceding chapters, where you've learned how mastering the art of non-forcing can dramatically reshape your life without the strain and stress so commonly associated with achievement and success. By embracing the principles of effortlessly, you've discovered how to recognize the myths of overexertion that plague our culture, how to align your actions with your natural rhythms, and how historical and modern figures have succeeded by letting go rather than clenching tighter. You've unlocked the secret of effortless mastery, found ways to bring effortlessly into your personal productivity and relationships, and created environments that support a flow state. You've established rituals to sustain your practice of non-forcing and developed a long-term vision that commits to a life free from unnecessary struggle. Weaving these insights and practices into your daily routine creates an integrated approach to life that feels more like a harmonious dance than a battle. You've learned how to set intentions that guide your actions without dictating their precise course, leaving room for opportunities and insights to arise spontaneously. You have embraced the art of achieving more by doing less, finding freedom in the silent spaces between our actions where clarity and creativity bubble up from the depth of stillness. Think of how a gardener tends to their garden, aware that no amount of pulling will make the plants grow faster. They provide the right conditions, water, sunlight, and soil nutrients, and then they step back, allowing nature to take its course. This doesn't mean they are passive, on the contrary, they are attentive and responsive, ready to provide the necessary care while respecting the inherent process of growth. Similarly, you've learned to cultivate your inner garden, fostering conditions ripe for personal and professional flourishing without succumbing to the counterproductive push of overexertion. Moreover, effortlessly transcends personal productivity. It touches the heart of your relationships. Like a skilled dancer who knows when to lead and when to follow, you've grasped the importance of harmony without struggle. Quality connections are not forced, they are nurtured through presence, openness, and the freedom to be oneself. As you reduce unnecessary friction in your interactions, you enhance the depth and satisfaction of your bonds with others. The way you design your physical and social environment also profoundly impacts your ability to live effortlessly. As you shape your spaces to reflect and support your inner state of peace, you craft an ecosystem conducive to well-being and high performance. The strength of this ecosystem lies not just in its individual parts, but in how they all work together, creating a setting where flow is not an occasional visitor but a welcome and frequent guest. Sustaining the art of non-forcing is an ongoing process, much like maintaining a healthy lifestyle or cultivating a skill. Through daily practices, like meditation, journaling, or simply pausing to breathe deeply, you've established rituals that keep you grounded in the present moment, anchoring you in the flow of life that dances all around. These rituals are not cumbersome chores, they are light touches that gently guide you back to the path of least resistance, where energy abounds, and intentions materialize with ease. As you forge ahead on this effortless path, it's important to emphasize the ripple effect your transformation can have on the world. Effortlessly is not just an individual pursuit, it has the power to influence the collective consciousness. Envisioning a world where more people adhere to the principles of non-forcing is to imagine a society marked by cooperation, innovation, and sustainability. Each person functioning from a place of aligned intention and calm is like a cell in a larger organism, contributing to the health of the whole. Let this be a reminder that mastery of non-forcing extends beyond self-improvement, it is an act of service. By investing in your own growth, you become a beacon for others, demonstrating what's possible when we surrender the myth of the hustle and embrace the wisdom of flow. Your personal journey of transformation becomes part of the collective journey toward a more humane, balanced, and thriving world. In essence, the effortless path you've embarked on is about refining your approach to living. It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity, pressure, and force to one of abundance, ease, and gentle power. It's about fostering an inner landscape from which your finest actions naturally spring forth, like a well-nourished garden that yields an abundant harvest. The mastery of this art is not an end state, but a way of being, a dynamic, living practice that evolves with you and enhances every facet of your life. True mastery of effortlessly does not culminate in a static achievement, it unfolds as an enriching, transformative process that continually invites you to let go, trust, and flow with the ever-changing currents of your life. So, as you continue on your path, remember to honor your progress, practice kindness towards yourself, and recognize that each step forward is a step into greater alignment with the effortless nature of your true essence.